Hello. Well, welcome back to my playthrough of Pacific Theater Operations 2 for Super Nintendo as Japan in the Brink of War scenario. In the last episode, if you didn't see it or if you just need a reminder, I went over how your basic fleet orders work, how to move your land-based stuff around, such as your Marines, your aircraft, and all that. We also started to reorganize the fleet a bit, gave some orders to start moving things around. And then in this episode, I really want to go into the submarines and start giving them some orders. So we're going to order. The submarine orders are like really basic. So we're going to do ports, basically just return them to ports. Let's see here. Ports. Yeah, you can't actually you can't like physically move the submarines around like you can with your fleets, like to very specific places. You just tell them to go to one place and attack or sabotage, which means just attack transports and whatnot. But the problem with the submarines right now, they are a little bit low on fuel. They're currently on their way to the initial Pearl Harbor stuff, and like they'll start to run out of fuel. Like almost as like they'll be there for a little while because Pearl Harbor's still potentially like 2 weeks away. Like they're still not, well, not 2 weeks, but you know, a while away. Okay, just getting an idea of where they are, so I can click in the area and just do that because it's easier than going back to that menu to find them. So by the time the war begins, they start running out of fuel within, you know, like a week or so, and they're really not that useful when they do that. And they will automatically refuel when they enter a port. So we'll use our submarines later on. Okay. Sorry, this is taking a second here. But once it's done, it's done. And there's a lot of skipping involved here. There we go. There's two more right here in this area, and then there's a few near Pearl Harbor we need to do. Ports. If I had to like wait through all these screens, I'd go crazy. Back when I was a kid in my room on a Saturday or something, it didn't matter as much. And I think there's some over here. Alright, let's order ports. Sending them back to truck because that's the safest place for them. I think I sent one to like Marcus or Gilbert or something initially, but it's okay. Okay, last one. Order, port, and truck. Having this fast forward button mapped to my controller is such a blessing. Like the fast forward goes really, really fast. I was trying to play another game. Hang on. Number 5 looks like he didn't get an order. And it's like, it's actually, fast forward is like, it's too fast to even do anything with. Like you can't like move around, like you warp from one side of the screen to the other. Alright. So the submarines have orders. Our Marines have orders to start moving around to defend these front bases here, the Marshalls and the Gilberts. We also sent this one up to Marcus, I believe. And then we have some embarked troops from the Army that are heading down here to the Philippines, and we'll do the same thing with some of like the first and second Marine divisions once we start reorganizing up here. But for now, let's save the game because everything's ready, and we're gonna call this our first turn. So this is the move phase. The move phase is done. This is where you give like a lot of your go there, do this orders. And you can see how slow I'm letting you, see how slowly it moves here because it's thinking, because it's an old game. It's not very well optimized or anything. Executing, and we're just gonna skip forward here. Okay, now we go to the plan phase. Now this is the phase, if you, like, say for example, we'll see our fleets here have already moved closer to Tokyo. During this phase, if you have any action points left, so you just select your fleet there, and when you give them an order to move and do things like that, they leave a couple of extra action points, so you can actually cancel their current order and go in and start giving them specific things to do. So if there was an enemy fleet detected right around here, we could engage it in this phase. We could give orders to engage in this phase. We can also launch airstrikes in this phase. You can also give orders to your land forces to do attacks in this phase. So that's the planning phase. Now we go to the battle phase. No battle phase because there's no battles. That's where the battles would actually resolve. So now we go into the next day. First day is done. Look at that, we're back to the move phase. It's now the 27th of November. Check out our fleets. You can see our fleets have moved around there on the screen. Our Marines hopefully have started to move around a little bit as well. I think that's the 3rd Marine Division. That's on the move. That was based in China, I think. China. And we should hopefully start getting some forces down there to help defend the Gilbert Islands, blah, blah, blah. But really, we have our orders in place now. There's nothing that needs to be done. We can check the 14th Fleet. Sorry, this is the Marines. Check the fleets. You can see that they are moving, like the fleets down in Southeast Asia, they are moving towards Saigon to resupply and do that stuff. And then the 1st Fleet and 2nd Fleet, they're already in Tokyo. Look at that. And they're actually too big to reorganize because you only have 8 ships in a fleet. There's 7 in this one and there's 2 in the others. We can't reorganize that just yet. That's okay though. So for now, everything's kind of in place. So all we have to do is hit move phase, and they'll continue to do what we told them to do. So we're going to zoom through the move phase this time. There's nothing to plan. So we just hit zoom through the plan phase, and there's no battle phase. It's now the 28th of November. And we check our fleets. We can see they've gotten a lot closer to Saigon. In fact, now that these are red, that means they're idle. They don't have orders. So they're in port. 12th and 13th fleets. Let's take a look here. 13th, that's the carrier fleet. 12th fleet has no orders because I reorganized it. So that is an invasion fleet. So we're going to grab that one. We're going to order them to move to Taipei. And then what I meant to do was fleet. 13th fleet has a carrier in it. We're going to organize the Air Force. Fleet Air Force. Okay. Hang on. No, it's resupply. I think it's resupply. Yeah, here it is. It's resupply. Here we go. So Regio. So the way air combat works in this game, it works in 5s. So there's 15, 10, 20. You can have any number in between 1 and 20. But whenever you do an attack, like say you send in your torpedo bombers, if you have 20, it'll send in 4 aircraft visually. So basically it'll give you 4 torpedo attacks. Like if you have 19, 18, 16, it'll still send in 4 attacks. But once you hit 15, you get cut down to 3. 14, 13, 12, 11, you're fine. You still get 3 attacks. Once you hit 10, you're down to 2. So the best course of action is to have pumped up, basically strong air forces, because if you send in like 10 dive bombers, there's a good chance they won't get a single bomb off because you could lose 10 dive bombers. If you have 20 and you lose 10 of them, then you still get 2 of them off. So what we're going to do is we're going to, there's 48 in total here for the carrier. So we're going to get rid of the dive bombers. We're going to send them down to 0. We're going to get rid of the A5Ms, and we're going to assign them some zeros. Because it's a small carrier, we want to give them some of the best aircraft we can. And we're going to fill in the rest of these slots. There's 5 slots now. Fill those in with scouts. There we go. So we have 48 aircraft, 8 of them are scouts. We have 20 torpedo bombers, 20 zeros. And now that we've done this, you can see that the experience on these zeros, as opposed to the torpedo bombers, it's down to 21. So they're fresh, they're brand new. So they're going to need a little while to start, to train up. So we're going to hit enter here. And now we have resupplied. You can see the cruiser there also has 1 scout. And whenever you do scouting missions, like whenever you do a scouting action for your fleet, the number of scouts that you have in total, that will affect your success. So if you only have 1 scout for your whole fleet, or even 2 cruisers or whatever, with 2 scouts in total, you're not gonna, it greatly reduces your chance of spotting anything. So having 9 scouts here is pretty good. Just going to hit yes, and that resupply uses up all of their action points, so we'll have to come back in and mess with them again. But 13th Fleet or 12th Fleet will be leaving tomorrow. In fact, they'll be leaving today during this movement phase. But that will make room for 15th Fleet to come in here, and we're going to basically reassign 15th Fleet to help protect our carrier. We're going to merge the 2 fleets, I think, if there's room for it. So that's that. No, hang on, let's go up to map. Let's see. Nice, we have a lot of stuff going on here, so we're going to reorganize. Take a look at our fleets. First has 2 aircraft. This one should have 7. Yep. The 4th Fleet has 7. And 5th Fleet has 5. Okay, so we're going to reorganize 5th Fleet with 1st Fleet. And we're just going to move, see, the Nagato, there's the Hei. These Nagato Mutsus are stronger, so we're going to put them up front. Actually, we're going to move them over to 1st Fleet so that we keep Yamato in charge of the fleet there. So that what this will do, this will disband 5th Fleet. And it will put it in reserve, so that'll be a reserve fleet that we'll be able to assign ships to if we want to. So let's do Nagato to the 1st slot there. Matsu's there, cool. Alright, like that. So the transports basically automatically go into the fleet that exists. All the fuel will go in there. There we go. Now we have a 1st Fleet that has a 4 battleships, 2 cruisers, and a destroyer. That's a very solid, very solid fleet for doing shore bombardments and things like that. So we're going to need them down in the Philippines. They have 86% fuel with fuel transports, which means they're carrying a ton of fuel. So those transports plus the fleet are filled up to 86%. So we're going to order Yamada's fleet to move down here to, I think, well, we'll see how long it takes them to get here. We might reorder them later. We're just going to send them down there to the Gulf of whatever that is. So the 4th fleet, hang on. All right. So now the 2nd fleet has 2 carriers. The 4th fleet has 2 carriers. So we're going to organize 4th fleet with 2nd fleet. We're gonna, yeah. So those are the light carriers. Hiryu and Soryu are good. So we're gonna give Hiryu and Soryu some support. And we're being a little bit defensive here in our composition of the fleet. Sort of light cruiser. We'll give a light cruiser to 4th fleet. And they have 2 destroyers. There we go. Nice. So it's another fleet of battleships, another shore bombardment fleet, and then a fleet of carriers. So we need to, I'm probably going to reorganize the carriers. So we're going to give the transports to, actually, there's quite a few transports, so everybody can get some. But we're going to give the fuel to 2nd fleet. So 1st and 2nd fleet, I know, are my battleship fleets. So 2nd fleet's going to be doing the same thing as 1st fleet, except land forces, here we go. These guys have orders. They are, yep, they're on their way to do some stuff. And then, so what we're going to do is we're going to send 2nd fleet back to Kure. Order, move to Kure. And I'm going to grab some of my Marines from there. Alright, so that's all the reorganization done for this round. We're going to just go to the next move phase. Save the game here. Alright, and those orders, those things that flew by on the bottom probably said not enough room to dock down there in Saigon. Alright. Here we go. Are we doing some more reorganization down here? Yep, there. Alright, let's do some reorgs. So there's 7 in that fleet. There's 6 in that fleet. There's 2 battleships. Some cruisers. So we're going to reorganize with 7th fleet, I think. Alright. Fleet, reorganize with 7th fleet. So we got some battleships there. So we're going to give them some heavy cruisers. And a light cruiser. And then we're going to finish them out with destroyers. There we go. And that's good. We're going to give the division to 7th Fleet. And then whatever on the other transports. We're going to top off 7th Fleet's fuel. And that's good to go. And then we're going to go over to 7th Fleet. We're going to give them orders to move up here to the same sort of general area around, actually I'm going to send them closer to Davao. So we're going to send them to the other side of Davao, closer to Palau. There we go. And 6th Fleet is looking, it's okay. It can fit one more ship in there, but actually this fleet is actually kind of okay. What we're going to do is we're going to reorganize with 8th Fleet. Heavy cruisers. Alright, so they're heavy cruisers. So we're going to grab another destroyer out of 8th Fleet. Give them all transports. There we go. We're going to top off their fuel. Alright. And then 6th Fleet is actually going to have a little bit of a role here. So we're going to have them patrol off of Saigon. That gets them out of the port as well. Alright, so that should be... Let's see, fleets. Okay. 3rd Fleet. We're going to resupply them. You can see their air groups aren't even up to full strength, so we're going to resupply the aircraft. So we're going to top off. You can see they're at 76 XP. They're going to drop down when I give them 2 more zeros. Down to 70. We're going to give... There we go. There we go. We can do 1 more scout. And we're running low in reserves there for our torpedo bombers. There we go. These are the ship killers. Alright, we're actually out of torpedo bombers, so what we're going to do is we're going to actually trade. We're going to just get rid of 1 entirely there. We'll grab some dive bombers to fill that in. So that's 60. We'll strip off all of the scouts in order to max out the comp there, the fighters, and now we can put 4 scouts on there. And we'll have to do the same thing here. Actually, we'll just put them down to 4. 4 scouts. Now we can go to max numbers. And we're running out of dive bombers too, so we might have to do something here. So let's get rid of the dive bombers. And we'll replace them with some zeros. There we go. And then back to Kaga. Top off the torpedo bombers. Top off the zeros. And the fighter, or the scouts are good. So there we go. That's a complete reorganization of 3rd Fleet, the PTOII. That brings them up to full strength. It stripped away a lot of the experience in the fleet there for the pilots, which isn't great. And there's 4 destroyers in that fleet. Let's see here. 2nd Fleet. 1st Fleet. Okay. And now that 3rd Fleet is good to go, we're going to give them some orders. We're going to send them down to Truck to resupply. This is our PTOII, so this is like the main strike force that we have. And then 4th Fleet, we will resupply. They need aircraft as well. Alright, let's do aircraft first. I might not even have enough aircraft to get them set up. Actually, I have a few now. Okay. A lot of scouts on that one, but that's okay. I just want full strength air groups, so 60, 60, 60. Okay. Now don't fret too much about the lack of aircraft here. We're going to build some more when our turn, like the monthly phase comes around. So we're going to get rid of these dive bombers here on the host show and replace, we just want 2 scouts. Just give them some basic old A5Ms. I think they're called Zeeks. And the Zoiho. We'll get rid of the Zeeks and give them dive bombers instead, and then some scouts. So this fleet's going to be really good at scouting, and it's going to be a little bit weaker at striking. So next turn we'll better refuel them, resupply them. They're already sending them down towards the Philippines. All right. Concludes the move phase. Yes, it does. Okay. Concludes the plan phase. And then this might be the last turn before we do the monthly meeting thing. So we're going to go to Tokyo here. Check out 4th Fleet. We're going to resupply fuel. We're going to give them an extra set of transports here. Give them. You can see how their fuel went down. That's because there's now empty transports. So like, that's the total capacity. They went from like 11 or 20% or whatever they were of total capacity down to only 7 because their capacity increased. Enter. Now that that's all done, we can give them orders. Order them to patrol down here around Saigon. Okay. 3rd Fleet has their orders as well. They'll be going to truck to resupply. You can see it says their, like down the bottom there, it says their duty will be supply, their current position is Tokyo, and their target is truck. And then we should have a fleet here. Yes, we do. So this is how you embark into your invasion fleets. So we're going to go into land forces. We're going to pick our Marines, cancel their orders. We're going to board. 2nd Fleet. Doesn't matter which transport. Although if you got fuel in one and the other's empty, it does matter because you want to put them in an empty one so you don't lose your fuel. All right, now the 2nd Fleet. We're going to order them down south. Patrol. Down around Devout. Let's double check, make sure we're not too close to enemy bases because they can send out air forces if they spot you to attack you, so you got to be careful. The Allied air forces aren't great, like they're really not. Like they don't have great range, but if you get close, they will put a hurting on you. Okay, fleets, 6 fleets. So they'll be leaving to patrol in this turn. 7th Fleet will be leaving to go to the stopping off point. 8th Fleet is just ready to go in general. There's 4 destroyers, so it'll be one of the fleets. It'll be one of the things we reorganize with when these other 2 get into port. Back to map. Fleets. Looks like we got the fleet down there in Palau that we can reorganize with. Fleets. 15th Fleet will organize with 13th Fleet. And we're going to give... They have a light cruiser. Okay. We'll give both of the... Well, actually, we'll give them 1, 2... So these fleets are intended to fight. The 15th Fleet is intended to actually get into battle. So we'll just give them as many ships as we can spare from 13th Fleet. We'll top off their fuel. Puts them at 96%. And we will order them patrol in this area here between the Marshall Islands and the Gilbert Islands. 13th Fleet has no fuel, so we'll have to resupply them. Palau's actually running low on fuel, so we have to transport to the things. We'll give them 15 transports, and we'll give them 9,000 fuel instead of 5,000. And you're setting the new fuel level. Like you're not sending that much fuel. Like you're setting what their new fuel level will be. Marines. You can see now we've set 17th Marines up there, up north around Sapero. And you can see that we've moved Marines into the Gilbert Islands now. So we're looking pretty solid there. And that should be it for, that might be the end of the month. So let's do this. Yeah, harbor not available. It'll clear out. Into the plan phase. Here it is, and this is the end of the month. So I'm going to end it here because we're half an hour in, and I'm going to go through and the next episode will be how to handle this. It's like a card game. It's actually pretty cool. But I appreciate you so much for being here, and I will see you next time.